The purpose of this course is to teach you to read the Bible effectively. So what we want to try and do throughout this course is to let the Bible talk to us, so we learn from it, rather than either myself or Jared or any of the other presenters saying what we think the Bible is saying. So we're interested in the content of the Bible. And we're going to start by looking at what I think is one of the most powerful tips and aids to reading the Bible. And it's this. It's listening for Bible echoes. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, listening for Bible echoes is reading a passage of the Bible and thinking, what does that remind me of? Are there any links elsewhere in the Bible to this? Because what we find is that there are the most remarkable connections throughout the Bible. You're not just reading one passage in isolation, but it's linked up constantly with other parts of the Bible. So it's a really good habit to ask the question, when we're reading a section, where have I heard that before? What's the Bible echoes? And in doing that, it brings the Bible to life. And it also means that we should consider the whole, whoops, I've gone too fast again, the whole of the Bible, which is both the Old Testament and the New Testament. We see it as one contiguous book. Okay, so let's look at an example of this. We're going to take an example in the Bible from something that Jesus said. Now, if you have got your Bibles, it's always a good habit to try and turn at the passages. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Most of them we'll be putting on the screen. So we're going to go to Mark's Gospel and the 12th chapter. And we're going to be quoting from the King James Version. And Mark chapter 12 and verse 13, we read, "And they sent unto him," that's unto Jesus, "certain of the Pharisees and of the Herodians to catch him in his words. And when they come, they say unto him, Master, we know that thou art true, and carest for no man, for thou regardest not the person of men, but teachest the way of God in truth. Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? Shall we give, or shall we not give? But he, knowing their hypocrisy, said unto them, Why tempt ye me? Bring me a penny, that I may see it. And they brought it, and he said unto them, Whose is this image and superscription? And they said unto him, Caesar's. And Jesus said unto them, Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And they marvelled at him." So we're going to consider this passage just for a moment. So what we have here is the religious leaders of the day. So we've got the scribes, the Pharisees. They come to Jesus and ask him a question. And they say, should we pay taxes to Caesar? Now, this was a particularly pertinent question for the Jews in Jesus' time, because they were under Roman occupation, okay, and they didn't like paying their they didn't like paying their taxes to Caesar. So Jesus says to them, well, you should render to Caesar the things of the Caesar. And he shows them a coin. So in a similar way, we might get a note out of our wallets, and whose is the image and superscription on a coin or on a note. And of course, on our UK currency, it's Her Majesty the Queen. And it was the same in Jesus' time. It was Caesar, whose inscription was on the coins. And so Jesus very wisely says, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. So in other words, that coin belongs to Caesar, you have to pay your taxes, and that's what you should do. And you'll note that they marvelled at him, and it's a really clever answer, isn't it? It's a very wise answer. But we're looking for Bible echoes, so we're looking for things in the Bible that might trigger a memory for us based on what Jesus is saying here. So let's think about it in a little bit more detail. Let's focus in on whose is this image and superscription. Now, the image was clearly Caesar's. That was the face that was on the coins, so render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. But Jesus goes on to say, and to God the things that are God's. Okay, so we're making a connection then between this word image and the image of Caesar that was on the coin, and then something to do with God's image, and to God the things that are God's. Now, what we find is this is an echo back right to the very start of the Bible. So if you've got your Bibles, let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and let's see if we can pick up this echo. So right back in the very beginning, Genesis chapter 1 gives us the description, as the Bible has it, as to how God created all things. And in verse 26, I'll put it on the screen as well, verse 26, it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So mankind is made in God's image. Okay, so when Jesus said to the Pharisees, whoops, gone too far again, render to God the things of the gods, he's saying, look, you're made in God's image. You have to render to God the things of the gods. So if you're in God's image, you belong to God. So that brings a certain responsibility to them. And I suggest that that's why they marvelled at him. So that's picking up these Bible echoes. Where do we get these things that remind us of other parts of the Bible, and see how the Bible links together?